Hello guys, it's me Simo Orahara, and in this video we're going to talk about one of Kubo's new important answers, and this time concerning what happened in the battle between Aizen Sasuke and Urahara Kiisuke when the latter sealed Aizen's Ryatsu's outlets. And what does this have to do with Yamamoto after he lost his arm? And Kubo's answer, guys, gave us a lot of information about how the old man truly lost much of his combat flexibility after losing his arm. That's why, guys, let's check out this question and the answer and then analyze everything that was said. And as always, guys, infuse this video with your Ryatsu by dropping a like and leaving a comment. It helps other Bleach fans discover it. Or if you're ready to unleash your true power, awaken your Shikai, Bankai or even Mugitsu by becoming a channel member or supporting me on Patreon. Your support, guys, means the world and helps me creating more Bleach content for you all. So this fan is saying that the Shinigami has Ryatsu outlets in their wrists, and that if these outlets are sealed, the Shinigami will burn from the inside due to their own spiritual power. However, if they were to lose both arms instead of having their outlets sealed, would they suffer the same fate? And consequently, guys, what would be the impact on their spiritual power, especially for someone like Yamamoto who lost his arm? And here Kubo actually gave us an interesting answer. He said that if a Shinigami loses an arm, the severed section becomes a new outlet for the Ryatsu. However, controlling Ryatsu becomes extremely difficult. That's why Yhwach criticized Yamamoto for never having his lost arm treated. So the fans' question, guys, was related to the battle between Aizen and Kiisuke. In order to defeat Aizen, Urahara came prepared with multiple weapons, including sails that could shut down Ryatsu outlets. And according to Urahara Kiisuke, every Shinigami has Ryatsu outlets on their wrists, and I believe these outlets are responsible for the flow of spiritual energy, allowing Shinigami to execute various attacks, whether with their Zanpakuto or Kido. Thus, if these outlets are blocked, it would have catastrophic and dangerous consequences for the Shinigami, like burning from the inside. And just knowing that Aizen Sasuke himself admitted that if he didn't have the Hogyuko, the battle would have ended because of the power of those sails created by Urahara Kiisuke, and what they could do to a Shinigami tells us how serious this ability is. That's why the fans' question, guys, is completely logical. Since these outlets are located on the wrists, what would happen if a Shinigami lost an arm or both arms? Especially since we have a known case in the story, Yamamoto himself. He lost his arm in the battle against Aizen after using the forbidden Hado 96 Itokasu. And Kubo says if a Shinigami loses an arm, the severed section becomes the new outlet for Ryatsu. Despite this, controlling Ryatsu becomes extremely difficult. This definitely must have affected the old man in battle. I don't doubt Yamamoto's skill in controlling Ryatsu, but in the end of the day, by losing his natural Ryatsu outlet, he only made things harder for himself. That's why, guys, I have always said that if Yamamoto had only restored his arm, his fight against Yhwach and the entire war would have taken a completely different course. Even before discussing Kubo's new revelation in this answer, I had previously pointed out that there is a big difference between wielding a sword with one hand and using both. We saw this with Zaraki against Noichura when he used Kendo. Holding his sword with both hands gave him a huge boost in attack power. Even looking back at Yamamoto in his prime, when he was at his peak in strength and ferocity, he used both hands in battle. I mean, just imagine the sheer power that the old man could unleash from his sword with every swing of Ryujin Jakka, whether in Shikai or Bankai. Especially now that Kubo confirmed that the Ryatsu outlets in the hands are a fundamental factor in controlling spiritual energy, since the arm are the most important body parts for a Shinigami in combat, whether for executing Kido techniques like Bakodo and Hado, or wielding Zanpakuto. But unfortunately, guys, the changes that occurred in Yamamoto over the past 1000 years made him weaker, just as Yhwach said. And I'm not talking about raw strength, although Kubo did mention in the data book that Yamamoto's physical power wasn't what it used to be due to aging, but rather about his new value and principles, such as honor and pride. His pride as a Shinigami and the fact that he is the leader of the Goji 13 prevented him from asking Inoue Orihime to heal his right arm, and this decision, guys, made Yhwach not even consider Yamamoto among the 5 major threats to the Quincy's, because Yhwach had already realized that Yamamoto had become an easy target. one that could be taken down. That's why guys, if you look at how the Van der Reich began their first invasion, you'll see that their primary goal was to kill Yamamoto, because the death of the old man meant to defeat the Soul Society, and this was something Yhwach couldn't accomplish 1000 years ago. However, after studying Yamamoto's personality and understanding what could be used to manipulate him and manipulate his emotions, Yhwach carried out the attack in a way that might seem chaotic but was actually carefully planned. It all started with how the war was declared and the killing of Sasakibe, one of the most respected persons for Yamamoto, and his death carried a great symbolic weight, as it became clear that Sasakibe had participated in the first war and played a role in Yhwach's defeat with that stab from behind. So that sudden attack, guys, shocked Yamamoto internally, because he believed he had already eliminated Yhwach 1000 years ago. On top of that, the death of Sasakibe pushed him into a rage that clouded his rational judgment. As we saw, all he wanted at first is to kill Sasakibe's killer, instead of carefully looking at the situation. And then he made that fatal mistake, that the Quincy couldn't steal his Bankai, leading him to activate it, a mistake that compounded all the previous ones, starting from neglecting to heal his arm to recklessly using his Bankai. And this was actually the biggest flaw of Yamamoto. His enemies, knowing the extent of his overwhelming power, spent years planning in the shadows just to bring him down. And actually Aizen Sasuke did this, and later Yhwach followed him, preparing a medal to steal Yamamoto's Bankai and even bringing a fake copy to make Yamamoto waste all his power on him. That's why the battle ended in a bad way for Yamamoto. And I believe that if the old man had taken a moment to think ahead and considered the possibility that someone stronger than Aizen Sasuke might appear in the future, he would have realized the need to heal his arm immediately after the war with Aizen Sasuke. If he had done that and asked Orihime to restore his arm, at the very least, he would have had enough strength to fight properly, even without his Bankai. But in the end, guys, the topic of this question and the answer gave us insight into how understanding an opponent's body and abilities can provide a crucial advantage in battle, and Urahara Kisuke has always demonstrated this as one of his greatest traits. He constantly studies how others fight and based on that creates countermeasures. He did this with Aizen Sasuke, and he applied the same approach against the Quincy's, which is how he was able to find a solution for the medal and bring back the Bankai to the Shinigami. Indeed guys, what do you think about Kubo's answer? Give me your opinions in the comments, and see you guys in my next video.